Hi, everybody. Hollis Citron with Hollis Growth Citron, I should say, with a very spontaneous interview of Creative Conversations. So I am so happy I started this all because I wanted to be able to talk to different people and get different feedback. Hey, Meta. Love the hair, by the way. So this is my new hairstyle that Meta Callahan at Personal Expressions in Haddonfield did. So love it. You have to check her out. And hey, Kathy. So anyway, so this is just very spontaneous, and my mom here is, so this is Susan Gross. So let me get back to saying the whole reason why I started this was to just talk about creativity and ask people what their definition is, how they incorporate it into their life, and why they think it's important. So I was like over at my mom's house and I said, Mom, would you do this? And she is like, what are we doing?
Oi.
Oi, Gavolt.
Oi.
So my mother is such an inspiration to me because I see her as just, anyway, I don't want to talk too much. So I just want to ask her. So again, Susan Gross, say hi.
Hello.
And just to give a very quick background, why don't you tell people what you did as a profession and what you're doing now?
Yeah, I'm a retired Philadelphia school teacher. I taught for 33 years, and I retired about 15 years ago when my husband passed away. I wasn't really ready to retire, but I just couldn't go on teaching the way that I had been, so I decided to retire. So once I got myself together, I started filling my time with creative things. So to keep me in the moment and to keep me moving forward.
So now what I find so amazing about my mom is that she's always, she wrote a book. But first let me ask the question. Before we go into these details, let me ask the question. And thank you. Hey, Jackie. And Meta, by the way, said you were very cute.
Oh, stop. I'll cut it out.
So what's your definition of creativity? How do you define it?
Well, I guess it's doing, making, or thinking something that doesn't exist already. Just creating something that hasn't been there, or doing something in a different way, or changing things to have your own personal mark on it.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And that's actually,
Love that.
well, I do, but I think that actually fits almost to the definition of what creativity is. When you look it up in the dictionary, it says it's
Oh,
a
really?
formation of an idea or an object.
Oh.
So,
Cool.
yeah. So, but you elaborated and made your own. So, how do you, so this would kind of lead into what you do. How do you think you incorporate creativity into your life?
Well, it's exhausting. I'm a very visual person, so I'm always organizing or moving or seeing things in a certain way. My favorite thing to do when I am stressed or anxious or whatever is to go to a thrift store.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the height of creativity.
Well, she's the queen.
Well,
She's the queen, sorry to interrupt, but of finding, she could just go in and just look and find stuff. Whereas I get so overwhelmed.
Yeah, I can walk down an aisle. Like if I'm looking at clothing, I can just walk down an aisle and certain things pop out to me. I don't go through everything, but I'll see the fabric that's interesting, or the shape, or the this or the that, and I just love it. I got the greatest outdoor wrought iron shelf the other day for $7, and it was like, wow. I'm not sure what I'll do with it, but I got it.
But is that your, like, what is it that excites you about going into a space like that?
You mean the adrenaline rush?
But is it like looking, is it like the hunt of finding something? Or is it the price, like, can I get this for the best price? Like, what is it that?
The adrenaline rush when you walk in the door is you're not sure what's going to be there. I never usually go thinking I want such and such, and then you're surprised by what's there. There's been a couple of times lately where I said, you know what, I think I'd like a pea jacket, a pea coat, And I went in, and there it was. There it was. So
and it fit,
and it fit, and it everything, and it just worked out. But I never go thinking that I want a certain thing, because I certainly don't need anything. Sometimes I look at my closet and I don't remember when I got it, or like there's so many things. A therapist once told me that I said, I think I like being there because I feel the old souls. And she said, I don't think that's it. I think it's because everything there has survived. And I said, wow.
That's pretty deep.
That's deep. That's deep.
That is very deep. Hey, Selena. Thanks for people tuning in. If you want to participate in the conversation, just, jump in, and hopefully I can see things that you're saying if you are. Last question. Last question. Sure, we have more to talk about. Last question. Why do you think creativity is important?
Why? Well, I run a widows group, and the best thing that ever happened is Hollis came to the group one day, and she did an art lesson, and one of the women walked over to her and said this is the first time that she was in the moment and doing something creative, and it doesn't get much better than that. And that's what creativity does. It allows you to be in the moment. Nothing else matters. You're not worried about anything. You're not thinking about what you did wrong 2 days ago or what's going to happen tomorrow. You're actually in the moment. And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, agreed. Because like I always, I'm trying to get across that idea of expression, that it's about expression and connection. I think that when you're in that moment, you're just able to do all those things. It's like heightened, and you're feeling that sense of calm. You're able to connect with others. You're able to connect with yourself. You're able to express yourself. You're able to...
And it's good for your self-esteem. It's empowering. It's absolutely empowering.
Yeah. So Jackie just said, I love the story about the woman in the... Yeah, it's pretty. And Mom is... so the W Connection started in New York, and Mom started the Philadelphia chapter, and it is the largest chapter. I know it's not anything she would brag about, but it's the largest chapter.
Yeah. And I try to do really creative things. They work in groups. They get annoyed with me. I have them writing. They don't want to write.
Oh, Randy Techlin's watching.
Oh, really?
Hi, Randy.
Hollis forced me to do
yeah,
this.
I did. I
She
forced
me
her to do this.
Now they're writing haiku poetry, and this Saturday one of the women's making an English tea, and so a lot of creative things are starting to happen from that, and I think it just empowers people.
Yeah.
To step out of the box.
Well, and I think you've created this safe space, I think is an important thing too, for these women to be able to... Her group is not anything about, oh, woe's me, like that kind of thing. It's about, okay, this is how do we work as individuals and come together as a group and empower each other and ourselves to experience life, because we're here.
Right, it's a non-victim area.
Yes.
Non-victim area.
Good.
Yeah, good for self-esteem. Find out who you are as a person.
So, thank you, Jackie. She said the apple doesn't. Thank you. I appreciate that very, very much.
I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see who's
well,
saying
we do
what.
on this. We have glasses, yeah. And we have the little hair wreath.
I
know. So Mom wrote this book called Somebody Used to Love Me, and a little selling. You can get it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble too, right? Yeah, but it's very much about, which always amazes me, because when she taught, she always taught in a very interactive, fun way. Like she taught middle school, and the kids really, she is the teacher that took 100 kids from North Philadelphia up to New York to see a show.
To see the Lion King.
And I didn't go on a trip. We went to a pool on a rainy day.
In a suburban school.
But she always was very interactive and very, she looked for different ways to approach learning to get the kids engaged. So in the book that she wrote, it's very much it's very simple to read, but very deep in thought and a deep concept.
Yeah, it's written like a Dr. Seuss book. It's 4 lines to a page and beautiful illustrations, and it just documents reality. It doesn't preach anything. It just documents reality so that people can relate to it and feel that there's nothing wrong with them. What they're going through is normal. So the reason I wrote it the way I did, well, I've been writing like that for a very long time, but I just know that when you're full of anxiety or you're depressed or whatever, you can't concentrate to read 300 pages. And you can't teach anybody how to go through grief. So it's better just to document what's reality in a simple way as possible.
Yeah, and I think that's why your group is so successful, is because they feel, again, I'm using the word safe. They feel safe, but they know that they're not crazy. Because when you are feeling these things, which isn't, it's like when you read the baby books. And I never read a baby book, honestly. I didn't really read those baby books. But if you were to read a baby book and they say, this is step 1, this is step 2, this is step 3, but then the reality of when the shit really hits the fan and you're like, what? Like, I didn't know that was going to happen. It wasn't in the book. But she kind of lays it out. I think you make people feel that it's normal to, when you are in a space and there's a lot going on, that you get overloaded when you're that
and you
anxious.
might lay in bed and you might not want to buy food and you might not want to eat food and you might not want to whatever, but it ends with to be continued and hope. And I have the second book ready, and that's going to be coming out soon. It's called I Think I Turned the Corner. So it's not good, whatever you're going through, it's not good to stay there. It's always good to have a plan to move on. So, although I hate that expression, moving on. I hate that expression, yeah.
Well, would you say like you acknowledge it?
Because when you say moving on, it sort of gives the feeling like you're forgetting everything that ever happened. You're just going to be a whole different person. But you're not. The reason you are the person you are is because of what happened to you before.
Yeah.
So,
love that.
You like that?
I love that too.
Thanks.
I love that. I love my mom. So I am very grateful, and so thank you. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for making me.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
So I really, really appreciate it, and thank you for tuning in. And creative conversations. So don't know who will be next. Okay.
See ya.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.